Hola, kids fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNateBloodYelbow.com. Joined once again by Zane Simon for the sixth round of UFC Fight Night Boston, aka UFC Fight Night 81, aka UFC Fight Night Dillashaw versus Cruz, in which we saw the reign of terror of Dominick Cruz over the bantamweight division, and fight fans everywhere, frankly, begin again. I can't take anything away from Cruz. Excellent performance, but I thought TJ won the decision, and I was very frustrated that TJ couldn't solve the riddle of Cruz's movement and impose his high power offense game on him. I really wanted to see TJ get a clean victory, but instead Cruz edged him out, and here we are. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see Cruz back as champion because the dude has a whole bunch of fans now that weren't around the first time he was champ and have never actually seen him fight. And
yes, he talked good. Cruz
yeah,
talked good, very good, but he fight not so good. He fight boring. He fights great in that he's hard to beat, but
yep.
is no fun to watch and so frustrating.
I'm happy enough to watch him fight again. Like I've always enjoyed his style. I like watching him. I like watching it, but yeah, it's not a fan-friendly style. It's not a style that really draws the eye. It's just, I mean, if somebody even tweeted out that like during the fight that Goldberg sounded bored, and I remember there was like this point in the second round where it was like, oh well, Dominick Cruz is turning this into a Dominick Cruz fight, isn't he? And it was just like, this is unfortunately going to be probably the voice of the masses. Like it was a fun fight, but he has a style that is
less than fun. You
yeah.
know, after all the intrigue about footwork and neo footwork and this and that, and can Dillashaw, switch stance and get inside and force it into medium range, or is Cruz going to take him down? And basically that's what happened. When Cruz needed to, he got the takedowns fairly early on in the fight. I thought, though, and I think you had it the same way, that Dillashaw came on and won the last three rounds.
Yeah.
And the hurt leg that Cruz suffered was really the only damage of the fight.
Yeah, that was my take on it. That I thought that Dillashaw won the last three, but I'm not mad about it. I'm really not. Like it was a razor close fight. That third round was especially incredibly close. I thought that Dillashaw at the very least won the last two. I don't see really giving the fifth to Cruz at all, but at the same time,
both guys basically stood there for the last 20 seconds of the fight, so it's hard to get too excited about giving it to anybody.
Yeah, and Cruz did take over the last half of the fifth round with more volume. Like Dillashaw just kind of stopped throwing, and so I mean, it's one of those fights. It's a decision that I'm not mad about. I'm not mad to see Dominick Cruz again, but I am a little sad that we did not see Dillashaw up to the job. Really, whether we thought he won or not, he was not up to the task.
No, he didn't. He did not unravel the mystery of Dominick Cruz. I mean, he almost blundered his way through it, but he did not offer us any kind of Sherlock Holmes brilliant deduction and just dismantle the guy. At first, I thought he was going to. At first, I thought he was walking him down and getting him into the range and landing. No, he didn't ever open up on him with combinations, but he landed a little bit more, and I really had hopes, and then he started getting taken down. But then I thought he opened it up in the second or the third and fourth, and the early part of the fifth, and it just wasn't enough. You've got to do more than that against somebody like Dominick Cruz, who has sad to say, a judge-friendly style. Like the guy knows how to point, he knows how to undersell when he gets hurt. He knows how to move evasively and yet in such a way that it seems like he's moving forward and that he's in control of the fight, which is pretty true. He is moving forward and he is in control of the fight, but he's not taking the fight anywhere you want to go. I mean,
it's the Ben Henderson thing that Ben Henderson is so good at too, is that he sells you that he is in absolute control all the time. Josh Thompson can be riding Ben Henderson's back for a round, and you're like, Henderson probably won that round.
Yeah, at least on some of the judges' scorecards, and it's frustrating and unfortunate. So
Whatever. I'm not frustrated. I do not share this frustration of yours.
Well, I'm coming at it from a business angle. Dillashaw was just hinting at making the bantamweight division something interesting. You had the Dillashaw potential fight with Uriah Faber. I guess Cruz has a potential fight with Uriah Faber too, although I'm much less interested in that fight.
I think Dillashaw is a better fight for Faber now, frankly. I mean, I think that fight means more without the belt because Faber really doesn't deserve
a title shot. That's fair enough. But it's still, since it's not a title fight, it won't be hyped as much. It won't be as big a deal.
True.
So, it is what it is. In the co-main event, lightweight, Eddie Alvarez decisioned Anthony Showtime Pettis in another split decision fight. I thought Alvarez took it. I really had no beef with that decision. He completely stymied Pettis, pressured him, forced him up against the cage, defused the bomb.
Yeah, I think I scored it the first 2 rounds for Pettis and thought that he deserved the win, but it was very much another fight. It's just like, I mean.
And our special guest, it looks like, is appearing. We promise you Eugene S. Robinson, who's frequently on Knuckle Up and Care Don't Care. This will be his first appearance on the 6th round. Eugene, are you with us?
Here to railroad me out of the building. What was this? I'm mid-sentence, and here he comes, like one of the
man, I'm your
rolling down through the clouds.
I am your Bob Hope, Deus Ex Machina, coming in, fucking things up.
It's true.
None of the kids watching this show have any idea who Bob Hope was, Eugene. With the times, thoughts on Cruz and they don't speak.
Okay.
They don't speak Latin either, so they have no idea, Mr. Stanford.
So they saw that movie with that Swedish broad, though, so they know what I'm talking about.
I see. So, thoughts on the title fight?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt somebody, or you're asking me?
I'm asking you.
That's you. You're here. I've officially already. This happened.
I am reminded right now of the great song by the band Flipper, the lyric of which goes, ha 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 ha. Ho 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 ho, he he. You got that?
So you picked Dominick Cruz. Is that what you're trying to say?
I guess you could say that. I guess you could say.
Are you wallowing in despair? Are you wallowing in Nate's despair that he won though? Because Nate is just full of horror.
Whores? Wait a minute, we haven't gotten to the whores yet.
No,
you're the one who brought that up. That's over. That's in my past,
Yeah,
no, I was super excited, man, because I think that one of the things that happened, we've seen 2 fights in which, the so-called challenger has effectively crawled inside the brain pan of the champion to the champion's detriment and to the challenger's benefit. And, I mean, yes, there was skill and there was talent involved, but these guys, man, they lost it with their heads. Like they define, the sexual experience as being an erotic one primarily that occurs in the brain. They lost these fights in their heads. The question is when. That's the only question. When did they lose these fights? And Dillashaw standing in the cage saying, I thought I won that. No, you didn't.
But how does that theory work with the fact? Don't you agree that Dillashaw came on strong in the middle rounds, probably won the 3rd and 4th round?
I'm gonna have to side with my friends over at Sherdog about the 3rd round. I didn't think he won the 3rd, but the fourth was the panic round. And you're crazy if you don't think the judges realize, oh, he's panicking. The judges are not guys who they borrowed from the Ice Capades or from rhythmic gymnastics. These are guys who pay attention to the fight game as well. Joe Rogan says, "Oh, I wonder what those guys are thinking. I'd really like to talk to them." They're thinking what we're thinking. Oh, he's desperate now. It's not a good look.
I see. Well, it's sour grapes. I think Cruz.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, you guys told me that I should be in the dark.
Yes. Well, you're brightening everything up. You're ruining the gloom, Eugene, because.
Well, you do realize that there's a problem where, I lower the lights anymore, man. And you're just seeing teeth and eyes, Jack. You're not. Nothing else is copying through. It's like I'm green screened out. Huh?
a polar bear and a blizzard going on.
Exactly, that kind of thing, but the opposite. So
that reminds me of one of the best stories of my high school life when the cheerleaders, one time the cheerleading squad was dressing in the locker room, the lights went out, and one of the white cheerleaders goes, "All I can see is Becky's teeth." Becky was black, and Becky walked over there in the dark and beat the shit out of her, and you could hear the screaming all over the high school. Anyway,
yeah, black folks get touchy about stuff. I keep
given the history, can't blame you, and I'm not that worried about the lighting. Back to the fights. Alvarez and Pettis, thoughts on that one? We had already talked Cruz and Dillashaw through. Alvarez just dismantled Pettis. Defused the bomb was the term I used.
Yeah. Well, he paid attention to film, and I did pick Pettis, so it is a bittersweet thing to me. But more so than picking Pettis, I'm happy to see Wheaties Box Golden Boys shuffle on out to the Phantom Toll booth where they can wait for phone calls about maybe you're free, I don't know, sometime in October. Yeah. Anything, Baldwin. I'm game.
Yeah, it's sad though because Alvarez doesn't have the commercial potential Pettis does, and Pettis, brilliant fighter when he can perform. But people have figured out, hey, if you don't let him perform, he can't perform, and you win the fight. So
yeah, I'm kind of like I thought Pettis won that fight, but I'm not unhappy about it because the plan was right there in front of him. Pettis knew what the plan was. Pettis knew what was going to happen, and he let it happen. Like, he let it happen enough to lose. And you can't be that guy. There are other fighters out there who have shown you can beat this. I mean, Joanna Jędrzejczyk comes out and everybody tries to do this same thing to her. She shuts it down. Mm-hmm. There are modes and methods, and it seems like Pettis isn't learning them.
Nope, and it's maddeningly frustrating, and for Pettis fans. For Alvarez, it's a reawakening. I mean, this is a guy who's struggled since he came into the UFC against Donald Cerrone. He's had some ups and downs, but this is easily his biggest win in the UFC. He's got 2 wins in a row over Pettis and former Strikeforce champ Gilbert Melendez. So now he's 2-1 in the UFC, and in the title picture, although. With Conor McGregor fighting RDA, no telling what's going to happen until after UFC 197 when we get to see that fight. So, but Alvarez is in the title picture. Who's ahead of him?
Hopefully Tony Ferguson is the guy they match him with while they're waiting for RDA and McGregor to fight. That would be the 2 guys that are right there.
And that would be a heck of a fight. I don't think Alvarez would try this bullshit tactic against...
Hey, how much longer does Gil have to serve of his suspension? Do you know?
He's got to be close.
Yeah. He's getting close. Yeah, Gilbert Melendez was suspended for what did they get him for? It was steroids or?
Yeah, I think it might have just been high testosterone levels or something. Like
yeah, like he said.
I mean, I don't know if they got a specific steroid flagged.
Yeah, it says performance-enhancing drugs in Wikipedia, but either way, he's out for a while. What do the UFC rankings say? Who's coming? The
thing is, it's got to be infuriating if you're taking some off-market HCG or some anti-estrogen, something like Novadex or Clomid, all these bodybuilding treats that suppress estrogen or artificially boost your testosterone without actually adding testosterone to your system, and you still get popped. Because in actual fact, your performance increase is very small on either Novadex or Clomid or any of these others I'm talking about. It's not like taking real steroids where you just feel great and you get popped.
I got popped for crap steroids. Yeah,
exactly. It's like I got popped for synthetic weed, man. Shit,
How embarrassing. Yeah, I got the rankings pulled up now, and you got Pettis had been at number 1. Obviously, he's going to be moving down. Khabib Nurmagomedov is at number 2, and was at number 2 with the bullet until he kept getting hurt, and so he's not.
Well, that's the AKA curse of very tough smaller guys working out with really tough bigger guys. Man, it's tough, buddy.
Yep, you get rolled over like a runt pig in the litter in a tiny bin. And Donald Cerrone at number 3 just lost emphatically to RDA in a title fight. And then Tony Ferguson, number 5, with a bullet. So, yeah, Ferguson and Alvarez would be a good title eliminator matchup while we've got RDA.
Is Cerrone moving down? Is this happening finally?
He's at 170. He's fighting Tim Means.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so he's moving up out of the division.
I'd like to be his accountant.
I'd like to play 3-card monte with the guy.
Yeah, because I would pay him in Oreo cookies.
Yeah, I don't think defrauding Donald.
Like, no, man, that's a $100 bill. It looks like an Oreo cookie. No, you don't know what money is, man. That's a $100 bill. You know?
Eat up, enjoy, and we got a whole bag.
Yeah,
all right,
there's more where these came from, buddy.
Then in the third fight on the bill, we had Travis Hopper Browne, TKO Matt Mitrione, smashed him with the big slam in the third round after eye poking him repeatedly earlier in the fight. To me, that was a momentum shifter after Mitrione got increasingly desperate to lunge in against a taller man after he was twice poked in the eye. The second time, a completely flagrant thumb in the eye right in front of the ref. Like when they were talking about it, Rogan and Goldberg were going, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it was an accident. They always go on and on about how it was an accident. And even though it's one of the most notorious deliberate fouls in the game, it was Chuck Liddell.
Who was the ref? Was it Rita?
No, it was some dude I didn't even recognize. Oh, wait, let me see. It was, I got it right in front of me, Gary Foreman.
Yeah, Gary Foreman, and Gary the Legend Foreman, as I'll now refer to him. And they show the clip, and they're like, well, where was the referee? And they show he was right in front of it and completely missed it. It was just... He
was on a vision quest.
Yeah, clearly.
With Cecil Peoples.
Travis Browne was on a vision quest. He was after Matt Mitrione's vision, and he got it. And, yeah, it was very frustrating. Mitrione, who's been in a labor dispute with Zuffa for about a year, he got one fight last year, then they put him on the shelf. And... you know, it was a very big fight for him. He lost the fight, and then in the third round, after blinding him, Travis Browne poured it on, caught him with a slam. There were rumors that he smashed his collarbone. Has anybody heard any confirmation of that?
I just saw some pictures that it was like of a bone, you know, popping up and making the skin all weird.
Yeah.
But it could be an old football injury too. It's hard to tell. It's one of those things that.
And Mitrione's eye has become a viral bit of click porn because it looked like a dude's face. It was like he was growing a second head out of his eyeball. So that
poor Edward.
Yes, I knew him well. Yes, it was ghastly. So depressing loss there. Unless you're.
I'm sorry for everybody who didn't get that. That was a Tom Waits reference because he made a song called "Poor Edward" about a real life case of this guy who had a woman's head grown out of the back of his head. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. I'm completely oblivious to the life's work of Tom Waits. Never cared for the drunken hobo bit. Anyway.
Being one yourself, I could see that.
Yeah, you know what the plural of hobo is?
Hobosexual?
No, well, that's good, but it's hoboses. Hoboses. Yes.
Oh.
Anyway, we are way off topic. This is Zane's nightmare that you would come on.
Zane! Yeah.
That's the name perfectly, Zane. All right, so then you have an opener.
I made both of you uncomfortable.
I don't need more of that. I get that every day on Twitter. You know that? Every day.
Oh, yes. This is, and we haven't even bitched about the ads, the mountain of ads on Fox Sports.
I get the feeling you're just ready to bitch through the whole card. I
was having a wonderful night until all my fighters started losing. But Francisco Trinaldo was my last win of the night. He defeated Ross Pearson by unanimous decision. He got 30-27 on 2 of the cards. Just not that fun of a fight. He pot-shotted him. Pearson couldn't do much about it.
He was all right.
Nah, you know, this is the thing, man. Pearson was my pick. I'm owning up to it. But what I forget about is that clock that we all have at home that doesn't run backwards. And I'm thinking about Pearson, and my videotape picks up where Pearson left off, not remembering that it's been 11 months since I've seen Pearson. I don't know what the fuck has happened to Pearson in that time. He could have developed a debilitating addiction to OxyContin. Who knows where he's been? Speaking of which, Chris Lieben is coming back, and I'm completely depressed about that. But whatever. I mean, Ross Pearson did what I think increasingly will be the wave of the future for Ross Pearson. get you right there and leave you hanging.
Yep. It was completely
kind of the wave of the past for him too. I mean, he's
gift wise. The question is, do we add another A onto the end of that?
yes.
And I'm starting to think, it's
well,
time.
although if you can trust him to lose every time, then he's not really addicted. But
no, I can't trust him to lose every time. It's just that he's now slowly losing to a lower caliber of fighter. I mean,
which means he's
losing every other
addicted.
fight to a lower caliber of guy, and you can't predict which guy he's going to lose to. Trinaldo wasn't that impressive either. It was a matter of Pearson.
No, that was one of those fights where I'm sitting there watching the fight, going, why am I doing this?
And then a Motel 6 ad came on, and you said, this is why. They brought that guy back from the 80s. Anyway, all right, now we get to the preliminary card. More depression. Ben Saunders, bloody elbow member, loses to Patrick O'Tay by TKO in the second round. It's one of the rare times you see that clinch battle where one guy's going for the knee and one guy's going for the uppercut. Usually that's a fairly even fight. Sometimes it's always the guy who can control posture that dominates that. But generally you see the knees as more powerful than the uppercuts. You rarely see a guy with the uppercut just annihilate the guy throwing the knees like Cote did. Hats off to him. He clearly studied Saunders' tendencies.
Well, and Saunders got that beanpole build, the head on a post thing where, guys like that, when they get hit hard, especially in tight like that, they just seem to crumple. Like, there's just something about that frame where you're right in close and somebody clocks you, and those guys just drop.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that one, Eugene?
Yeah, that was kind of bitter. But it was bitter, but I quickly wheeled around and turned a gimlet eye on you and blamed you for my pick because, of course, it was under your what I believe was sage tutelage that I was tricked into voting for Saunders anyway.
Oh, that was out of solidarity for
tricked into voting for family.
Well, that's right. He's a member of the Fourth Estate here, the Fifth Column. For a moment there, I don't know. I lost my head. I wasn't looking at the facts.
Reminds me of Royal Tannenbaum when he shoots his son in the hand, and he says, "I thought we were on the same side," and he goes, "There are no sides."
Right. I guess that's right. I mean, I don't feel bad about it, except for the fact that my tote sheet.
It's like having Ricky Henderson in the dugout. You don't even expect him to root for the team. Just steal some bases and get some hits, and don't hit anybody else. So
my favorite Ricky Henderson story was when he was telling some guy, "Hey, I used to know a guy like you, and the guy just looks at him and goes, "Ricky, that was me."
I should have done a Shalala that one, but I love it so.
That's
anyway,
a good story, yeah.
Speaking of moving on up, though, we had Ed Herman and Tim Boetsch. I didn't realize until the seconds before the fight that these guys were no longer middleweights. They moved up to light heavyweight, fought at 205.
Yep.
Herman gets the TKO with a big knee, followed up by some punches in the second round, minute 39 in. And then goes on a tirade about how now that the UFC is cleaned up, I've never done drugs in my career. I look forward to this. Guys are going to be fighting at their own, in their natural division. I didn't have to cut any weight at all. But to me, it was. I mean, these guys are both way over the hill at middleweight. I have no idea if everybody is going to be doing a divisional dance and moving up at random. That's not going to be happening so much at light heavyweight. This fight has no relevance. And Tim Boetsch looks increasingly like the wildebeest in the documentary with the bad leg that is going to just get picked out by the lions and has no chance. He's just slower, older.
Yeah, but we knew that. We knew that anyway.
That's true. Ever since Costas Filippou destroyed him with eye pokes and groin shots, and he broke both his hands in that fight, he's never been the same since. And Herman, though, thoughts, Zane, on Herman's speech about weight cuts and drugs?
No, I don't know. It's Ed Herman. I mean, credit to the guy. He looked good. He got a win. But I'm just glad he's fighting in a division as shallow as light heavyweight. That fight, even if he's cannon fodder, that division is so shallow it needs cannon fodder.
It's true. It's true. Some bigger dude could get a pretty impressive win off Ed Herman if they can find somebody younger in there. Anyway, but let's keep moving. Let's run through the rest of this. I'm just going to go from the bottom up because there's no need to go backwards through this shit. So the Fight Pass opener, you had Francimar Barroso defeat Elvis Mutapchik, a short notice dude who couldn't get a professional mouthpiece. Unanimous decision for Barroso. I don't think did anybody care?
I feel bad for Mutapcic. I talked to him for a while not long ago, and he was really excited to get this shot. But otherwise,
yeah, well, he'll probably get another shot for coming in on short notice. Okay, so bantamweight Rob Font knocked out Joey Gomez with a TKO, second round, 4 minutes 13. That was a pretty fun fight. I enjoyed it. I don't know that it means anything. Zane, did that fight mean anything?
Font looks good. I mean, he looks like a legit guy on the rise. He has power. All his technique was clean. He was putting stuff together. He actually wrestled well on offense this time around.
Yep. He came in off a lot, right?
Yep.
Yep. So, oh well. So we'll see.
Hey, you guys, you know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to jump off, and then I'm going to start Knuckle Up at 10:30. I'm sorry.
Good plan. Good plan. Thanks for stopping by. And everybody, watch Knuckle Up. It's gonna, since it's a Sunday night fight, Knuckle Up will happen right after this. And adios.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye.